Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Footprints. I am your host, Anthony Davis. I'm an educator at BHS. That's Beverly High School, for those folks who don't know. And joining me today, we're going to shine some light on these stories that are shaping not only our world, but also our community in general. And it's one step at a time, because we're talking about footprints. Today I'm joined by two Beverly High School freshmen who are already kind of making waves in two very different worlds, ladies and gentlemen, band and beyond. Anthony Pinto is splitting time between basketball courts and concert stands. And how about that? And Nikolai Harris,
that's me.
That's that guy, is building strength both in the weight room and in the music room. So we're going to talk a little bit about all that stuff. We're going to talk about rhythms and reps and friendship and what it's like to kind of navigate freshman year at Beverly High School. So, you know, whether you're tuning in your car, you know, or on your couch, you're just chilling or whatever, or in your chaos-filled locker room, ladies and gentlemen, right? Get ready, because these guys are going to bring the heat, all right? So, first question right off the bat. I'm going to go to my left here, and I'm going to ask Anthony.
Yeah.
Tell me something, Anthony, about yourself that nobody knows. Could be quirky, could be funny, could be anything. Tell me, give me a little something, a little nugget about you.
I gotta really think. Well, I'm able to play a lot of saxophones. I've been able to like pick up a lot of like saxophones that I don't really know that well, and then play it. And another thing that's addition is I can make like piece notes together from like actual music. So like if I listen to a song, I can piece the notes of that song to my saxophone.
Listen, that's very impressive, sir, because I can't carry a tune in a bucket, and that's why I DJ. I play other people's music. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's a nice fun fact. Same question to you, Nico. What do you think? I mean, somebody said to me once, I have a certain thing that I do. So give me something about yourself, sir, that nobody knows. Something kind of quirky, kind of, it could be silly.
Okay, so this isn't something I've directly ever told anyone, but I think people could probably infer it based off of the stuff I like to do, like you know, my hobbies, you know, what I'm interested in, whatever. But I've always really been interested in, let's say, I think the best term would be media.
Okay.
So, I mean, an example of that is kind of like what we're doing here. I've always been interested in, you know, ever since I was younger, you know, I was always interested in production, you know, such as like, you know, sound, lighting, filming, and things like that. Like, there were multiple. So back at my old school, I went to Harblight Montessori. During a lot of the theater stuff we did after lockdown, you know, there's a lot of stuff where, you know, you couldn't perform, like, for example, in front of an audience, you know, because of social distancing.
Right.
So I remember there were multiple sort of productions we did where it was really just like a little mini movie where, you know, we would set up a little you know, a jank together set.
That's kind of cool.
And we would you know, act stuff out. And I remember, I like to say it almost got to a point where they pretty much assumed that I'll be editing / filming the stuff we'll be doing because you know, I always offer, and I was always interested in doing that. You know, I would, you know, I'll take my little Panasonic camcorder. I would set up on usually a makeshift tripod because I didn't have a real one, and then you know, once we're done filming, I would take it home and then I would edit it. Now, of course, since it was me in middle school, it was, you know, not the greatest. Job, but exactly, yeah.
But it's okay. That's all right. So we're going to call you Mini Spielberg right now, because you've done a bunch of stuff like that. That's kind of cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good for you. That's exciting when you have a hobby or something you want to get into, right? Let me ask you this. I'm going to go to Anthony. What's the biggest surprise about high school for you so far? What do you think? As a freshman now, you're like kind of like moving through. The year's almost over. What have you learned? What's the biggest surprise, you think?
I think freshman year just like hits you different. It like hits you fast and it hits you hard.
Oh yeah.
And then you gotta deal with that.
It's an adjustment, right? Schedule wise, right? What else?
Yeah.
Food-wise,
Yeah,
right?
food-wise, it's a little different than the middle school. Some good, some bad. I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
the
All right.
sports are also way different. I mean, getting
Oh, yeah.
to watch the varsity games
Mm-hmm.
or like getting to watch the JV games. I mean, personally, I was snubbed from the freshman team. I'm just gonna say that.
He wants to put that out there, and he wants to put you on notice that he's ready.
I'm ready. I mean, I've been playing for him for a little bit.
That is correct. By the way, let's give a shout out to New England Playmakers, which is the AAU organization that I actually coach for, and Anthony is on my team. So he'll be ready whenever the time comes.
Yeah.
All right. Nico, same question to you. What's been the biggest surprise about high school for you?
Let's see. Well, I think I definitely I needed to adjust a lot from the place I went to last time. So like I said, I went to Hartwell Montessori School. It's a private school in Beverly, but it is tiny. And when I mean tiny, I mean, so basically how it works, it goes from like, you have infant daycare programs going, and they go all the way up to 8th grade. And, you know, them in Montessori schools in general, they're usually known for their like much younger childcare stuff, you know, Montessori method, whatever it is. And I went there in 1st grade, and I kind of just never left. I stayed there up until you know 8th grade.
Yeah.
And there's sort of like a bottleneck. It gets to a point where, you know, my class, there were only like 5 other people in my class.
Wow, 5.
That's
Yeah,
a
So
short
that's
class,
that's a shock right there. That's a surprise to me.
Yeah, there's only 1 middle school class and 5 other people. So when you get to that size level, you sort of get really close with the people with your people.
Okay.
And because that obviously it's a huge transition. Going from only there being 5 other people your age to going to a school that has over 1,000 students, I think that's
That's
obviously
definitely
a lot.
that's definitely like a slap in the face. Really likes a breath of fresh air or some cold water being thrown on you, right? So Nico, do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have 1 sibling.
Older or younger?
He is 8 years old, and he's my younger brother.
8 years old.
His name's
and-
Oscar.
Oscar. All right, we like that. And Anthony, how about yourself? Have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a few sisters.
Few sisters?
Yeah.
Are they older?
They're all older. I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest. Ooh, I kind of like that. Well, listen, I have 7 children. Not that I'm bragging. And my oldest daughter is going to be 40 years old this year.
Wow.
And my youngest son will be 20. So there's that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. If you had to describe like your freshman year in a song, right? Because you guys are both in band, right? You do concerts soon. That'll be next year.
And jazz band.
And jazz band. Oh my. So now, if you had to describe your freshman year in a song, what would it be and why? We'll start with you, Nico. If you had to describe your freshman year in a song, what would it be?
We're really putting my music knowledge skills to the test.
Okay.
So it is actually funny. Last year, one of my middle school teachers, for an assignment, we all made a class playlist, and we made it sort of so we could explain how the year felt for us, and you know how emotionally affected you, blah blah blah.
Okay.
And I remember I chose. Listen, most people who are my friends notice Pink Floyd is my absolute favorite artist ever, and I'll
Wow.
die on that hill.
Wow, Pink Floyd.
Yes.
A guy as young as you knows about Pink Floyd. That's impressive.
Yeah, and even crazier,
Okay.
I didn't learn about it from my dad.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's a jazz guy.
So there it is. There's the footprints right there, right? Your father was one of the guys who influenced you about Pink Floyd because he likes it, right?
No,
And all of a
I was
sudden-
saying I was saying that unlike most people, they find out from their dad. I was one of the few who discovered it on my own.
Oh, interesting enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I even like that even better.
But-
So what drew you to Pink Floyd? Why them?
Let's see. Well, first I'll have to go back to your original question. I'd say for this year and last year, the song by them, "Time," you know, it's pretty self-explanatory explanatory in the title and lyrics. It's about time passing. It's about
passing,
you know time speeds up as you grow older, and it's sort of
Certainly does.
yeah.
I can attest to that a lot.
Yeah, but what drew me to Pink Floyd is, I mean, I remember the first time I heard them, I was like, 13, so not that long ago, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I remember one night. I remember this vividly. It was like 4 a.m. Could not sleep, and I just heard another band, Les Claypool's Flying Frog Brigade, and they did a cover of their 1977 album, Pink Floyd album, Animals.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm tired. I don't know what to listen to. I'll just listen to the original studio album, and I did that. I just closed my eyes,
And that was it?
Yeah, and it's just
So
you know,
I remember the only Pink Floyd song I'm really familiar with is The Wall. Is that the one?
that's an album. I think you're thinking of Another Brick in the Wall.
Another Brick in the Wall. That was
two.
it. That was
Yeah.
it. Now, good call. Thank you very much for clarifying that. I needed that. So let me, you sent me some information about you guys, and I want to just read a little bit of it. You guys are both in concert in marching band next year. Is what
Yes.
we talked about.
Yeah.
You'll be in jazz band as well, you said, right? You play guitar and will also be playing, was that Barrow sax next year?
Barry sax.
Barry sax?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Baritone
okay.
saxophone.
Baritone. Okay, of course. Tell us about playing guitar. Did you learn how to do that yourself?
For the most part, yeah. So I started on bass guitar like what 2-3 years ago, and I remember I was mostly self-taught. I just liked watching people on YouTube play it, and my dad had an old 20-year-old long scale bass guitar, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'll start playing. He bought me an amp. I was going through all the motions. I even had a bass teacher for like a couple months, but honestly didn't get far. But then I remember, any bass player needs an acoustic guitar that sits in their living room for years and stays untouched. So my dad got me that for Christmas, and I was like, this seems pretty nice too. And then following year, I asked for an electric guitar, I've just been going. I've kind of switched to that. It's just a case of searching up chords, getting better at the movements. To changing up styles, and
I love it.
yeah, and I've just it kept going, and now.
Anthony, thank you for sharing that. Anthony, what about you? You started playing sax how long?
I started playing in, I think it was 7th grade, because I played trumpet before in 3rd and 4th, and I did not like trumpet. So then I switched to saxophone, and oh my God, the world of jazz is just amazing. I mean, all the different songs.
A lot of stuff going on in jazz, huh? All right, I like it. So tell me, so the band is a unique type of a community, right? What drew each of you to become members of the band? Was it the music, or was it the people, or was it something else?
Honestly, it was just the thought of the music. I mean, like the saxophone, like that's a big instrument. You think about it, like you hear saxophone everywhere. I mean, it's just amazing. Jazz is amazing. All that is just like a big world.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Nico, what's one of the most challenging pieces you ever had to play?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you, Mr. Davis. I've not had to play a lot of tunes throughout the entirety of it. I would say for my jazz band audition earlier this year, what I had to play was that. So originally, Mr. Costa, VHS band director, he sent me the audition information, and the song I had to play was "Scrapple from the Apple" by Charlie Parker.
I do know that.
And for people who know, that is a very fast,
Yes, it is.
High tempo bebop standard from the 50s. And so, I was like stuck for like a good week and a half, just trying to learn this thing. It's just like, I
like it.
Yeah, and I was just doing that. And then, remember I asked Mr. Costa some sort of question about it. It's gone from my mind. But then he was like, oh, I sent you the wrong song. I should have sent you this other one. So
he sent you the wrong song.
He sent me the audition information from the jazz band the year before that. So I spent all that time learning like half the song for nothing.
Wow.
But
imagine though, see, it's interesting that those footprints were put on you by Mr. Costa, right? Because now he forced you to listen to something, and then you learned it, and now it's like,
partially.
Whoa, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Yeah. That's a good thing. So, guys, tell me a little bit about your parents, and what do your mom and dad do for a living?
Okay, so my mom is a paraprofessional at Beverly Middle School.
Awesome.
Miss Harris. She said she's talked to you before, actually.
I'm sure we've met.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, so that's what she does. She's also has a company, Essex Rays. She does mushroom walks. She's a forager.
Okay.
So shout out to them. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know their handles, but
I like it. So that's the footprints right there, right? Your mom's in education, and so now you're like kind of doing your own thing. You're finding your own way right around BHS, which is really awesome. What about you? Same question.
My mom she works at Avante USA. It's like a repossession company.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, she like takes people's tractors basically. It's literally like basically like if they haven't paid,
hey man,
you're out.
you gotta pay for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it works. So think about some of the things you did when you were younger, and your parents left these footprints on you about how certain things you did, right? They influenced you, the music you listened to, right? Maybe some of the TV shows you watched, because I know that, for me, that was a big thing.
100%.
And let's talk a little bit about you, Anthony, basketball, and let's talk a little bit about you, weightlifting, Nico. So this one's for Anthony. So how do you balance sort of the rhythm of the band and the rhythm of basketball? And are there any conflicts between, say, concerts and games?
Oh, there's a lot of conflicts. I've had plenty of practices, actually a few practices that I've had to miss because of my concerts.
That is true. Most notably, you went to Washington, D.C., is that correct?
Yeah, I went to Washington.
Yeah, and we had a bunch of practices, and I think we had a tournament as well.
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe just had a practice.
Yeah, because you guys, that was canceled or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
we needed him. He wasn't there.
Yeah. So originally, I used to play for Gibbs, which is another. He's been on here before, so
yes, indeed.
Then I started playing for him, and I've been playing really good. You know, I've been a few 20-point games. Not gonna brag.
Yeah, he did very well. Very, very well. And I'm very proud of his progress and how he's coming along as a player, but more so as a person. We love that as well. Nico, what got you into weightlifting?
Okay. So a couple things here and there, but I'd say so. First off, I was gonna mention my dad earlier when we were talking about the careers, but so first off, I'm gonna start off with I'd say I want to go back to music for 1 second. I'll get to the weightlifting, but my dad's a jazz trombone player.
Okay.
He's been doing that. He's been playing drum pretty much his entire life. And he played professional gigs for a while, and a lot of that stuff leached onto me when I decided to get into jazz. But other than that, he never weightlifted professionally. I'm not saying that, but I do definitely remember a lot of times him taking me to the gym, showing me all the ropes and stuff. Me being bored out of my mind because he took me there. But yeah, I think much recently, I'd say like a year ago, I really started to
kind of gravitate to it a little bit.
A lot more on my own.
Yeah.
So I started going to the Y. I try to go every other day. I'm not perfect. I'm limited. But
who is?
Yeah. And I'm trying to get there. I'm not the world's best weightlifter, obviously, but I'd say my mentality around it is getting to a point where I think I'm gonna be at a really good spot in the future.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. So now tell me, what's your go-to hype gym song? You got it, like a hype one, get you really pumped up and ready to go lift some weights.
Hype gym song. If I had to say a song that really it gets me hyped up, I can't really say any specific one, so I can't give you a genre. The genre I mainly listen to is, well, at least when I'm in the gym, I have this one playlist. Every single time I play that playlist, and it's mostly experimental, sort of like conscious hip hop, stuff released. I'd say from like I have a couple of songs from the '90s, but then it's just straight from then up until present day. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that underground stuff. I really try to bury deep in the hole to see stuff that actually find interesting and isn't too mainstream. Yes, I know I'm a music nerd.
All right, so a little underground hip hop and then maybe some '90s hip hop in there. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So what do you think is tougher, Anthony? Hitting the right note or hitting a jump shot?
I'd say hitting. I feel like notes are harder. I mean, I've been shooting jump shots. My jumper is a little quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah.
You need some work. And listen, Billy, Mr. Davis is helping him with that. I got you covered. You know what? You put in the work, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right?
Those private lessons are gonna work, obviously.
What about you, Nico? Same question, right? Which is tougher, hitting the right note or hitting the gym? Maybe going, all in.
All right. So,
which would you like? Which would you prefer? Let's say that.
Which one would I prefer?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to say. Surprisingly enough, even though even though many people would think that I'd say, let me use the mental hardness and physical hardness comparison. Many people would think, oh well, it must be much harder to bench a lot of weight than it is to hit right notes on a guitar. I'd say it's the opposite.
Oh, you say it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see, I feel like with most people, my issue with staying consistent in the gym and being good at it is always mental consistency. Always making sure you're in that mindset to where okay, I'm trying to hit a new PR today.
Yeah.
I know I'm able to do it. I just need to get in my head.
Yeah, you said a mouthful with the consistency because I think that's really important. It's really, I think that's the basis of everything we do.
When it comes to music, while there is sort of like a mental part in that, making sure especially in jazz, you're hitting the right notes. When you're improvising, you want to make sure what you're doing sort of makes sense in the theory you're playing. Also, physically speaking, you got to know your way around that fretboard.
You got to know, huh?
You got to know all the ways to get to the certain notes, all the chord shapes, especially in jazz. All those classical.
Oh yeah. See, now you got me bopping in my chair over here. Like, you got me moving. I like that. So you guys seem to have different interests, which I really love. But also they kind of overlap a little bit. So tell me a little bit, what makes your friendship work so well? How did you guys meet and become friends?
So we met through, basically, obviously through school, because we have some of the same classes. But honestly, it's gonna be so random. I just basically came up to him one day, and I was like, "Can I sit here?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then we just started talking.
I remember. Yeah, I actually remember. I think it was on Valentine's Day at the Y. I remember there because I remember I went to the gym, and after that I was sitting down relaxing, waiting for my dad to pick me up. And I was sitting in one of the chairs, and you were like, "Oh, your mom would sit here." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, you can sit here." And then I realized, I recognize
this guy.
I recognize this
Who's
guy
this
from.
guy?
I recognize this guy from biology and algebra, and we're talking like, "Oh, Nico, you go to the gym?" Yeah, I know. I made that Valentine's Day PR. Just spending Valentine's Day. In the gym.
That's how to spend it.
I mean, what else am I gonna do? And then it just kind of started from there. We started talking more. We realized we're both in the band and everything.
I love it. So now that you guys are friends, tell me, what's one thing you've learned from each other? What did you learn from Nico, Anthony, and Nico, what have you learned from Anthony?
You want to go first?
What have I learned from you, Anthony?
Yes, as friends.
I would say, I guess, the biggest thing I've learned from you, one thing that shocked me about you, first off, is the fact that you do both multiple sports and band, which is first, for example, when it comes to all the band kid stereotypes, you knock all those off the table. And
yeah, I'm a very athletic kid.
I like to think I'm a busy guy with my schedule until I realize, oh, look at what you're doing, and then. Yeah. So
you learned to really balance your schedule because of him?
I'd say, I could say I kind of look up to him when it comes to, being able to do a lot of different things / hobbies or, extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And,
that's important.
Not be afraid to have a varied, catalog of what you're doing.
All right, nice. What's one thing you learned from Nico, Anthony?
He mixed up my music style. I just got to say, all this jazz stuff, all that is really just because of him. I listened to a little bit of jazz, but I didn't listen to too much.
A little bit.
I was interested in it, and then he made me more interested in it. He'd show me saxophone solos from Miles Davis.
Oh, Miles Davis, indeed.
Yeah.
That is huge stuff right there. Miles Davis is an innovator and one of the greatest players, trumpeters, right?
Love Miles Davis.
Trumpet. Of all time.
Yeah, saxophone players who've played with him, like John Coltrane, Wayne Shorter, and all those guys.
All right, so check this out. If Beverly High School were a movie and you need to make it about your freshman year, what would the title be called?
Oh my God.
His would be Bands and Basketball. What would yours be?
Bands and basketball.
That would
be a good one if I
basketball.
played basketball.
Not bad. What would yours be?
I'm not a perfect English student, so
weights and jazz.
Weights and jazz. but
Right.
Those words don't go together that much. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I'd have to think about something that gives more symbolism than that. I don't know. I guess it'll be. I don't know.
That's okay. We're good with I don't know.
Over preparation.
I mean, it's okay not to know. We're good with that.
Over preparation. I was very. Oh, let me say one thing here. I was very scared coming into my freshman year, especially because of the changes I went through before then, and this whole new environment, and then I realized, what am I worrying about?
Exactly.
Real.
Yeah,
100%. What are you worried about?
Not only were the classes surprisingly easy, but I was also like, I guess I'm not that bad at socializing with people.
All right, so check this out. First to you, Anthony. Who's the most interesting teacher you've had so far this year?
Interesting.
Interesting.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my gym teacher.
Okay.
Mr. Bren, honestly.
Mr. Bren's the man. Shout out to Mr. Bren.
Yeah, he's the man.
We love
if
Mr.
he's
Bren.
watching, I just want to say you're a good teacher. And,
I love it.
Funny too.
All right, we love that. Yeah, he's definitely a cool guy. I had Mr. Bren on my podcast earlier. Same question to you, Nico. Who's the most interesting teacher you've had so far this year as a freshman?
Most
interesting.
Most interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would say probably my band director, Mr. Costa. It's his band director too.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like he's well. First off, of course, I'm gonna say something similar to that because I love music.
Of course.
But yeah, I really feel like I've heard a lot of stereotypes about band directors coming from the depths of hell when it comes to their attitudes. But he's actually one of the most chill teachers I met. I mean, I had him for Guitar 1 during the first semester, and then now I have history of popular music with him now. I mean, hey, listen, the second I heard he was in the jazz fusion, I was like, this guy's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, I mean, he's been super open to helping me out when it comes to music stuff, when it comes to joining band, joining jazz band, getting me starting playing Barry saxophone. And so he's been really supportive with that.
Nice.
And I just feel like I'm obviously going to have him as a teacher for another 3 years.
Yeah, I know. How cool is that, right?
Director. And and when I think about that, I don't think, oh, now I have him as my band director. I'm thinking, ooh, nice.
He's a really good teacher.
He is.
He is indeed. So check this out. So as you're moving through your high school years, what are you most excited about? Any goals or dreams or anything that you think you want to achieve, or any kind of random stuff you're thinking about or you want to try? Right? What are you thinking as you're moving through your high school years? Now, actually, let's rephrase that question. You're about to be sophomores.
Yeah.
You're about to be sophomores. What would you tell an incoming freshman about BHS? What are some of the misconceptions, and what are some of the things that they need to know?
You got anything, Anthony?
Yeah. Just freshman year, you just gotta just do your work. I mean, what you do your work.
Gotta do your work.
It will go by fast, and especially doing your work is good for sports, because if you get a D or a C or something like that, they will not let you play sports. They probably won't let you go on any trips either. Like music trip, you had to have a certain grade for it.
That's
so
right.
If you want to go to Washington D.C. or do a bunch of stuff, get good grades in school. Just try.
No doubt. So it's funny he said that because I interviewed a senior. So some of the seniors this year were in my class when they were freshmen. And one of the seniors said, well, I'm going to do what I need to do so I can do what I want to do. Right?
That's true.
So that's what you really have to think about, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
As you go through. So check this out. Let's do some rapid fire stuff, right? Tuba or trombone?
I gotta say trombone.
Say trombone? What do you say? Tuba or trombone?
Since my dad's a trombone player, I'd have to say trombone.
You say trombone, okay. Bench press or drum solo?
Bench press.
Say bench press.
I mean, let's say drum solo. I play drums.
Drum solo, okay.
I like to hit
Game-winning buzzer beater or standing ovation at a concert?
Game-winning buzzer beater.
Oh, yeah,
my
gotta hit that
goodness.
game-winning buzzer beater, baby.
That 3-point shot.
What about you? Standing ovation at a concert?
I mean, yeah. I don't play any sports that are like that. So
Well, hey, listen, lifting weights is a sport, even though people don't think about it. Just tell Arnold Schwarzenegger that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? How about sweatbands or headbands?
I say headbands.
He said headbands. What about you?
Sweatpants because I think I look ridiculous in headbands.
Just for
All right.
basketball.
Not hard to do that with this hair.
How about a morning lift for you or a late night jam session? What are you thinking? Which one would you prefer, this or that?
Ooh, morning lift or I'd say night jam session because morning lifts never go good with me. I feel like night lifts are
You
way
say
better.
night lifts are better. What are you thinking, Nico?
I'd say I've definitely done a lot of jams that are a bit later in the night.
Late night jams are good.
I've had very few times where I could actually get to the gym in the morning and have like really good early morning lifts. So I'd have to say
Late night jams.
that definitely and
For sure.
It's like you get all that lifting stuff out of your day. It's like the hardest part of the day is over.
I like it. How about study hall or snack break?
Snack break. I need me a break.
I gotta have a snack. You definitely gotta have a snack, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
How about solo performance or group ensemble?
Ooh. Like, are you talking about in an ensemble where you get to have a solo or is
No. I'm saying if you're the only main attraction,
ensemble, 100%.
solo, you want to be on an ensemble. How about you?
I'll definitely say ensemble. There's less pressure put on the individual me, and I feel like just a single instrument is kind of boring.
All right. How about this
personally.
one? How about 1 rep max or marching in a parade? Which would you prefer?
1 rep max. I do not like the marching concept of marching band.
That concept of marching is crazy, right?
Yeah.
How about this band room or gym locker? And where's the best gossip?
The gym locker rooms are nasty.
Like, I like the thought of like
No one likes
being
to go
with
there.
your homeboys after a good win. So like I'm gonna say gym locker, but yeah. So that's my.
Okay, so check this out, Anthony. Now, I love that answer, but I'm gonna ask you this: would you rather play the wrong note in front of the whole school or airball a free throw with the game on the line?
Well,
no.
Well, with the note, I can correct that, but with a jump shot on the line,
airball and a free throw.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not doing
that's-
that.
yeah,
So
that's-
I'm gonna
that's-
have to play the wrong
That's
note.
that's gonna be tough to do.
Coach is gonna sub me out the game. He's gonna be like, "You
Yeah,
out."
I'm like, let me look down the bench here. Get this guy out of the
Yeah,
game.
get this guy out of here.
Yeah, you can definitely see the logic behind that.
How about this? Would you rather be the strongest person in the weight room or the fastest person in the marching band?
Strongest in the weight room.
Yeah, I'm like everyone's supposed to be running and coordinating with each other the same speed in marching band anyway, and but if you're in the gym and you're being able to rep 330.
Ooh, my, that's a lot. That's a lot. How about this?
I can't do that.
Want to get there?
How about
I
this?
wanna get there.
Only speak in drumline rhythms all day, or walk in the basketball defensive slides all day.
Oh,
Which
walking
would
the
you rather
basketball
do?
defensive slides. I'm
You said
ready.
defensive slides.
Yeah.
How about you?
Do I get a block at the end of the day?
He said, "Oh, I'm not sure. I'm
definitely-
not sure."
I'll definitely say I'm pretty good at rhythm, so I'd have to say drumline rhythms.
Drumline rhythms. All right. How about this? Would you rather lose your sheet music before a concert or forget your gym clothes before practice? No shorts. You gotta go out there. Oh, what are you doing? Yeah, that's not gonna work out.
Wait, before practice or before a game?
No, for both.
Oh.
Practice or a game.
It's pretty bad.
Missing sheet music because then you can add. Because I've missed a lot of sheet music, so then I've asked the person like right next to me if I could look on with them.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, this one's for Nico. Would you rather have to play hot cross buns every day for a month or do 100 burpees every day for a week?
Oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to say hot cross buns every single day because it's literally just on the guitar. It's just
You'd rather do that? Okay. All right.
Get it over with.
All right. This question's for both of you guys, and you're both going to answer at some point. So, if you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, famous or not famous, who would it be and why? You can go first, Nico.
Who would I have dinner with? Well,
Yes.
I mean, I'd say first I want to think of one of my musical influences, and you see a lot of them come up to my mind as being like really big inspirations. But then I realize I don't know if I'd want to have dinner with that person.
So who would it be?
Yeah.
Who would you like to have dinner with?
Okay.
Ask him some questions about maybe music or whatever.
I was gonna say Miles Davis, but then I realized I would have to hear this guy say, so how much you know about jazz?
Yeah.
You don't know nothing.
Yeah, he would talk about that. Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think he's a nice guy.
You know what? I think he might be all right. What about you? Same question.
I'd say he's a famous actor. You know Tony Todd?
Tony Todd. No, tell me about Tony Todd.
He acts in a lot of movies that I watch. Like
name one of the movies he's in.
Second Transformers live action movie. He acts the main, I think, antagonist in there, the Fallen.
Oh,
He has the deep voice.
Oh, he has that voice. He's the guy.
The voice, like
okay. So he's the guy you would want to have dinner with.
Yeah.
Why him?
I think his voice is cool, but also I think he'd just be a really chill guy and like down to earth person.
No doubt, no doubt.
Actually, if I go back to who I'd want to eat dinner with, like I said, not Miles Davis. I want to say with that guy. But I would say probably someone else.
Not him.
Someone else I would look up to is the guitarist Pat Metheny.
Pat Metheny.
Yeah,
he had a band, right? The Pat Metheny Project or something like that.
Pat Metheny Group, I think so.
A group or something like that.
And he's a big inspiration for me when it comes rhythm and how to incorporate complex stuff into your playing. So I think it'd be chill to have dinner with.
Nice. All right, so check this out. So one day a future freshman stumbles across this episode, and they're listening to you guys, right? What do you want them to hear and remember most from this episode?
Out of what we just said, or just like what we're gonna say in general?
Well, what would you tell them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if your younger self were now an incoming freshman, what kind of advice would you give yourself, basically?
Okay. For me personally, I think this was something I dealt with at the beginning of the year, especially since there's kind of a stereotype of band kids and the type of people who are in there. And I'm gonna be completely honest, that was one of the main reasons why I didn't join band. Because I was afraid people were gonna see me as weirdo for it. But then now I fast forward to the end of the year, I'm gonna do concert band, jazz bands. I'm in the drama club. Just one sentence. Stop trying to not be cringe, okay? Because then if you're just not trying to be cringe, then you're just boring.
Love it.
Stop being nonchalant.
Yes. Put it out there and let them know about that.
Enjoy
so think
life.
about the footprints that have been imprinted on you as a freshman at BHS, right? You love Mr. Costa.
Yeah.
You're gonna do some jazz band. You're gonna do like concert, right? You're also like we called you the mini Spielberg in the beginning when you did all those other things with your hobbies,
Mostly
where you
drama
were
club.
doing stuff in the drama club, right? So that's you're finding your footing at BHS, and you're finding what you like, and you're gravitating toward those passions, and those footprints have been put on you by the educators at BHS is what I love. Same thing with you. You were doing the same thing. You guys are friends. You're in the band, right? And you're going to be doing concerts soon, right? And you're going to be in maybe jazz band as well, right?
Yeah,
and now you're also playing basketball too, so you're juggling those things, and you're making those things work in addition to doing your schoolwork, which I really love. And I really appreciate you guys being here today. This was a lot of fun to talk to you. So, big thanks, ladies and gentlemen, to Anthony to my left and Nico to my right for keeping it real, making us laugh a little bit, and kind of remind us that high school isn't just about finding your path, but it's also about walking it with rhythm and purpose and confidence, which is what they're doing every day. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, follow us, and hit that follow button. Channel 22, actually, this will be posted on there. We're also on Spotify and all the streaming services that you can find. So please find us and hang out with us. And we'd love to have anybody hang out with us here. So I always ask this question at the end, and I'm going to ask it to you, ladies and gentlemen. And the question is, who left a footprint on you? I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.